Hey everyone, it's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today on the show, we've got our very good friend Brittnie here. And before we get into her talking, I just want to, in the spirit of Every Damn Day being radically inclusive and talking about the entrepreneur, not just the endeavor, you guys continually surprise me with what you bring to the table. And Brittnie has a surprise for us today that I think is just lovely, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, so hi guys. I'm Brittnie. I'm Brittnie Denhof with New York Life. I'm going to be signing for most of the duration of today's show. And just a bit of a disclaimer. It has been a few years since I did go to school for it. I do know sign language, but I'm not certified as any type of interpreter. So be careful, or just be aware if it is a little rusty. Please just don't tear me apart. I'm trying. So I'm just trying to get the word out and equal access for those in the deaf and hard of hearing community.
Oh, I love it so much. Thank you so much for that, Brittnie. And I've got to do my own disclaimer. If you've ever watched this show, you see I'm all over the place like this. I am not signing. So if I cuss or something, I'm actually going to try to sit on my hands, but I'll do my best not to get so very passionate about this. So what you been up to, Brittnie?
I'd say maybe the same as all the people who, if they're able to, they're just working. They're working and they're trying to make the best of the situation with all the changes that just never seem to stop. COVID has been changing just lives and jobs and everything. So I'm just going with the flow.
So COVID doesn't have its own sign yet? You still spell it?
Honestly, I don't know if it has its own sign. I'm sure, that they've kind of come up with a sign because it's still here and it's not, I guess, leaving. So someone probably created a sign, but I just haven't, I just don't know it.
Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Okay.
It was more about sign language has to language has to evolve with the times, and sign language being a language would evolve with it.
That goes with the disclaimers. I haven't been studying and learning for like 5 years, and that didn't happen then. So I don't know the sign, unfortunately.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a really good question.
Oh, thank you. So why don't you tell us about you and your project or your projects that you're working on?
Okay. So I guess a little bit about myself. You mean like where born and raised and all of that, or just focusing on the projects right now?
I would go with the born and raised in high school and whatever you want to tell us about you.
Okay, well, I guess that's a good, area to start. Is I was born and raised in Grand Rapids. I'm still here from Michigan. And then I went to high school in Grand Rapids, and then I moved here to Lansing to go to college. And I started going to Michigan State University for college. I got my bachelor's degree in psychology, and then I went to Lansing Community College for sign language interpreting. So I did their ITP program, their interpreter training program. And then I guess kind of transitioning into where I'm gonna actually finger spell it out, New York Life, that kind of just showed up out of nowhere, really. Like, I don't even know. But it was a really great opportunity, and I wanted to try it, and I really wanted to just help people. So upon learning that was the goal or the purpose of the job, I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens. And now I realize that I get to, help people every day. Every damn day I get to help people. It's amazing. I get to, talk with people. I get to, and people are they're just so different. And that's one of the things, that's just one of the things that I love about people, that they're different, they have different situations, different goals that they're working towards, and if they'll allow me, I get to help. And that's I think my biggest project really, and what I'm working towards. It's just
so you made me have a million questions. So okay. I'm going to kind of work backwards in them right now. I had Matt Thornton. You know Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the show a month or so ago, and we talked about, and then I talked with him, and then Reed Felsing was also on my show, and he's an estate planner. And with both of them, I talked about, this seems like it's for rich people, that this is for people in the suburbs, that it's not for a young Black man on the east side. What's your response to that?
That statement, I would say, is a myth for sure, because you have to think about it. Everybody needs to start from where? Somewhere. You don't start rich, right?
Well, some people do.
Well, most of the time, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. But most of the time, people don't start rich. They have to start somewhere, and then they build on it, and they build on it. And then hopefully, if they have a plan, then they will become rich with that plan. And the purpose of setting up the plan is to know where you're going and how to get there. So it's not just, it's not only for people who are rich and have a lot of money. And I don't know, I can't vouch for other people and their businesses, because unfortunately it's not my business. But to start with me, it's like a free consultation, if you will, and just talking, where are you today, and where are you trying to go? And then if somewhere in between you need help, maybe I can help.
What does help look like when you say that? Like, what types of help? Because I imagine it's different. I'm sure you would customize it for me and customize it for somebody else, right?
Yes, everybody, as I've said, before, is that all people are different and their situations are different. And that's why it's so generally said as help, because we don't know, and we can't just assume that you need that, or that this is going to fit with you. And there's just so many variations. So just to kind of break it down, that's fine. If I were to break it down, I could put life insurance is a category that people might use for protection, for help. That would be the help. But it would protect their family if they were to die. In the unfortunate event, there's a plan in place that will stay and help the family in the unfortunate event that you pass before you plan on it, which we never plan on it, but still. Right. Another thing is setting up maybe a plan for protecting your retirement money. So if you were to have a medical condition and you can't maybe get dressed in the morning, or you need help brushing your teeth or eating or bathing or whatever, there's 6 normal, what's called activities of daily living. If you can't do 2 of the 6, then someone needs to help, and that's expensive. That's really expensive. So to have a plan to protect your retirement money, that's something I can help with. Or, we've all heard of this foreign thing called pensions, right?
I've never heard of that.
we know that before they used to have them, right? But they're not really here anymore. So now what do? We have to almost create our own pension and, a systematic form of paying us, because honestly, really, with even the government, we don't know if Social Security will be here when, we're ready to retire. So
Right.
there's so many different forms, and really it's not expensive. It can be, but it really depends on what are your goals? What are you hoping to reach, and then how do we arrive there? And it's a step by step. It's not, oh, you want to retire with $1 million. Well, where's your $1 million right now? Well, it doesn't make sense. You need to
Right.
start somewhere.
Right. So do you mind, and I don't normally do this, but I want to dig a little bit deeper into this, and I want to talk to you about like the financial crisis that we're all having right now and how we can make space some way for services like this. Are you okay to drill into that a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
So as you know, so many people are unemployed
Mhm.
because of COVID, and so many people are financially stressed because of COVID. Either they don't want to spend, or they can't spend, or they don't have the same income. And then when we also look at our people of color community who, have not had the opportunity to create generational wealth or restore equity in our communities. 2020, has it been a good year, a tough year? You crying a lot?
Well, I'm gonna say it's on the fence, and it always depends. And I hate that answer, but it really always just depends. There are lots of days where things are great, and then there's other days where things are not. And I think that's almost where most people are probably at. They're trying to just stay positive. Give me one second. I apologize. I just had to make the sound go away.
No worries.
But as far as the financial side of it, yes, a lot of challenges are happening every day. People don't know if they'll have a job, next week. They don't know if their job is going to tell them they can't work because the governor said to stop, whatever the case may be, or even they have their own like small business and they can't afford, the rent. They can't afford to keep their own employees. Like, there's just a lot of challenges. But on the other hand, some people are saying how great it is. Oh, I'm not spending, money on gas in my car. I'm not driving. Like, think about the people that commuted, how much more money that they have, maybe because they're not putting it in gas. But maybe they're spending it on food now because they're not going to the store or whatever. So people, they make their choices however they deem, but it can be really easy, and I don't want to minimalize it, but it can be really easy to start a plan and to start a process for a very low expectation. And it really just starts with a conversation.
Is some of it, would you even recommend, like, should I be putting $1 a day away? Like, should I just be saving that?
I would say anything that you can save, yes, is going to help you. And really, because time is your best friend when it comes to, to saving money.
Okay.
And if you don't save the money, then you have to, I guess, save more later, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's how that works.
So will you explain the present net value? No, I'm just kidding.
No. We can set up a consultation, you and I, on another time.
So, but $1 today that you save today, especially if you can get some return on it, can be a lot more than $1 in 20 years. And if you do that 1,000 times, then it really does add up, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't understand like compound interest and all of that.
I'm really glad you said that because I don't know the sign for that. So I was wanting to say that.
That you don't know the sign, or you?
No.
Oh,
Compound interest. I don't know the sign though.
oh. So I
Maybe
said it.
it's not
You
like
could
it's a
just.
building. I'd have to look it up.
But yeah, I mean, so do something. Start. I mean, if I give advice to
Yeah.
someone right now, start. Do something.
And that's exactly. And there's a rule of I don't know this, the specifics, but I think it's the rule of 72. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means, but I think if you have whatever you have today, so just for an example, let's say you start with $5,000. In 10 years, you could, using that interest, that compounding interest, have $10,000, and in 10 more years have $20,000 because it's just building, and that's how it works. So, and then 10 more years, it's 40,000, 80,000, and so on. And that's really, you have to start. If you don't start, you're gonna arrive to retirement and be like, well, where's my money? Well, that's a good question. What'd you do? Where'd you save? Oh, I didn't. Well, then you don't have no money. Sorry.
So it's the rule of 72. Sorry, I know about this rule. Do you want me to explain it a little bit? Is it okay? Yeah. 72 divided by your interest rate is the number of years until your money doubles. So if you had a 6%, I'm sorry, let's say a 7% interest rate, in 10 years, your money would double. If it was a 1% interest rate, it would take a long time. It seems like 72 years, but you can get a lot better deals than 1%, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah. Change jars. Are they worth it? Is it a good start?
Yeah. Anything, really. Anything is a good start. And if that means using, just the coins, the change you have to start, and then maybe 1 year down the road, be like, oh, I have maybe $100 now. What do I do with that? And then you can get the ball rolling. But you need to start. You really just need to start.
Should they buy Bitcoin? I'm just kidding. Don't answer. I don't want this to go viral and be New York Life's position on Bitcoin. I just want to give a shout out to Fonda and a shout out to Sean who are watching. Fonda says, I like that she starts where the client's current financial knowledge is and goes from there. And I think that's so symbolic in life. Whether you're mentoring somebody or you're helping them with substance use or whatever, you got to meet them where they're at and go on that journey with them. So, you're not the 70-year-old white guy in a suit sitting in front of a desk at this thing, telling me that if I would just do this and pull myself up by the bootstraps. Is that kind of the stereotype that you financial planners can get sometimes?
I'm sure it definitely is possible. I feel like I more of have the challenge of people feeling that because of the uncertainty. And, some people, they've maybe never even heard of New York Life. And then maybe they associate it with other type of companies that are more MLM structure. And then they feel that what I'm doing, especially with the example of the people that you were, mentioning of, people assume that it's for, white people or rich people or boys and not girls or whatever you want to assume, but it's not true. It's really for everybody. And, black, white, Asian, I don't know the sign for Asian, and I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Regardless, anybody really, and anybody is able to set up or start a plan. And that's really all I would encourage is just to start, or at least start a conversation. Just talk about it. I know it's a silly relation here, but it's like having a plan if there's a fire. What are you going to do if there's a fire? Do you have a plan? Do you have a drill. This is similar. You just have to, you start somewhere.
So I want to ask you about signing, and we're running a little bit long, but I don't mind if you don't mind.
No.
Why did you start signing in the first place, like 5 years ago or what have you? And LCC's got a great program and a great club and everything, right? I've heard of this program. Why did you do that? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I'm going to back it up even further. My high school actually offered sign language classes as a second language, which was really cool. So I actually took Spanish and sign language, and I started learning. And then when I went to MSU, they didn't have any classes that I could take, but I wanted to continue learning because, you know, it's a good language. It's not nearly used as often as it should be. Same with the pronouns. You know, it's just not knowing, really, is all it comes down to.
And shout out to you for putting yours up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But after MSU, I went to LCC because I heard that they have a really awesome program. And you know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with having the psychology degree. Was maybe thinking I could use the interpreting or, you know, sign language to communicate with deaf and hard of hearing children that are, I guess, in the foster care system. And that was my goal at that time. But now that I've learned sign language and I use sign language, and it's not, you know, the best, but I try and it's working. But regardless, I want to be able to use it, I guess, now in my financial practice to be able to offer information for deaf and hard of hearing people so that they can have a plan in place too. Because I don't want them to feel, oh, I mean, us as even hearing people, there's a Roth, there's, you know, an IRA, there's a SEP, there's annuities. Like there's just so many things. You hear these things, and if you've never even heard them before, how do you learn? Well, they're random words you've never even heard before. So what do? Well, normally you would ask somebody. But if you can't ask somebody, what do? Well, then it's not for me. Well, that's not right. And I don't want that to happen just because the information is just so much. I want to try to make it, you know, a little bit easier and accessible.
So, oh my, I love that answer. I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing today on the show is so very important, and it's so valuable to me. I mean, that's even the wrong word. It touches me so much that you would care to do that and to get that message out there. I really, really appreciate that. And if you don't mind, I'm going to talk about it for I got two more quick subjects. One, I wish my high school would have had sign language, and I'm surprised I'm able to remember what I want to talk to you about, because I am so fascinated with trying to figure out what word you just said and what sign you just said. And I want to start learning. It's making me kind of motivated for that. But, and we also, I wrestled with some hearing impaired kids that were on our wrestling team, and nobody ever taught us anything about signing or how to communicate. And, you know, they used to always take my Walkman and just blast it, and they couldn't hear, but they could feel the vibrations, and they loved it. And I wish they would have taught me more about the people that were hearing impaired, what their experiences were, and how I could have communicated with them. So kudos to your high school for that. And then the other thing is, have you noticed people trying to sign because the masks are, so I can't hear as good as I used to. I'm getting old, and my hearing is starting to come down. So I depended a lot on lips, and I didn't know it until everybody was wearing masks. So now I can't always hear, and I can't figure it out. But then I started seeing people starting to sign more, not anybody that would have done that in just little things that they know, like I think thank you is like that, or I'm close to it. So okay, so they're doing that, and people are starting to sign. Is that a thing that's gonna happen with masks, you think?
I mean, I hope, but really, like I haven't, experienced that. I would have loved to experience that, because then I would, of course, be really excited and be like, oh, sign language. And they'll be like, well,
Yeah.
no. Okay, sorry. But no, I haven't. I do experience some challenges. Same with, using a mask. You can't hear very, very well. You can't read lips, which was always a good kind of something you could depend on to kind of help really understand. And now all I can hope for or really wish for is, closed captions. Will you put closed captions when you talk? But that's obviously not realistic. If people, are going to learn sign language, I think that would be amazing, and it would be able to help people communicate better and not have any silly hearing mishaps.
Yeah.
As fun as they can be. Sometimes they maybe not the best.
I've seen them go south really fast. Well, I was seeing it out in our food stand as people were taking food and they had masks. They were signing at me or signing to me. Sorry, I'm going to make some mistakes maybe in the language, but I'm trying to figure out the right way to view this. And then I asked a woman, I said, you just signed at me. Why are you doing that? Oh, I used to teach sign, 100 years ago, or however old she was. And that she just with the mask being on, it became a habit for her to go back to that. Yeah. And that fascinated me.
Yeah. I did, for Halloween. For Halloween time, they, the arts. Oh, do you know what I'm talking about? The one in the ramp.
The artist umbrella.
Yeah, the creative artist, right? Well, we all had to, wear masks, and I was invited to hand out also, and I kept signing, and then I got to see some of the kids in the cars that were driving, and they would sign back, and it was just so cute. I was like, oh, it just warms my heart.
Yeah, I always think it's cool when somebody's teaching their baby or their infant to infant or toddler to sign.
Baby signs,
yeah.
But really, it's actually really smart to do for those that are so young, because how else do you communicate before they can use their words?
Yeah, I mean, physically, their voice may not be developed enough to even make a word.
Right.
So, all right, back to the show. That's fascinating. I'm so happy you did this and so grateful. Now I'm trying to figure out how to kind of sum up your mission. What's your mission? If just, I'm not trying to look for some big, huge, elaborate, just something simple if you want. But how would you sum up your mission?
I know that I've already said it a few times, but really my goal is to be able to help people, really just having conversations, financial conversations, just to start that process to go. If I'm going to use the holiday, the Christmas time being here, I guess if you don't mind, I'm going to do an ask, but if anybody has any kids or, grandkids or nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever, that's a loved child in your life, and you want to be able to give them a gift that isn't going to, I guess, go away. It's not going to, it's not technology that maybe tomorrow there's going to be a new one. It's not clothes that are going to get ripped or too small. anything like that, but being able to give them and set up a financial future for the child in your life that you love. I would love to have that conversation with whomever and explain more details on that.
Yeah. Okay. And could you send me some information so I can get it in my post when I share this and stuff like that too?
Absolutely. I have a cute little flyer that I can send you.
Awesome. Awesome. So with that mission in mind, what's something you do every damn day to move that mission forward?
I call, I email, and I try to really just take care of me. So when the nighttime, my phone is off, like I'm done. You have to set up the time. I really try to be as available as possible for people whenever they need, because I understand, schedules are different or changing, or, third shift, night working or morning working, whatever. But when it's my time, it's really my time. And I really just make sure my phone's away. I have to take care of myself to really be able to help and take care of other people. So.
Very awesome. So you've seen the show a couple times and know that we daisy chain them together. And yesterday we had Maddie Smith and Gabby and talking about TBD skate park, and they have a question for you. And the question is, what's the most radical thing you do to help the community, or a sacrifice that you make, selfless thing that you do to help the community?
Something that I've been doing more of is I've been trying to just give as much information as I'm able to. With New York Life, we actually have a plethora of information, about the CARES Act, about the Secure Act, and just a bunch of other businesses, for small businesses and some challenges they face, and just so on. So there's just so much information out there, and I really try to just provide it appropriately to wherever makes sense. And that's something that I try really hard to just give back.
Amazing. Thank you. Now you got to ask a question for tomorrow. So we have Tanisha Shakur with the Voices of Color will be on the show. And what question would you like to ask her?
Well, I think if I remember correctly, you said that she works in a place where there's a lot of maybe traumatic situations that are happening. Yeah. So yeah. My question is, what does she do, when she's helping people every day in these challenging situations? How does she, I guess, take care of herself? How does she decompress, just let it go, so that she is able to help them the best way that she can?
Yeah, she helps people successfully and helpfully leave abusive relationships. So pretty traumatic, pretty trauma inducing, triggering, I'm sure of it. So how to compress. So how do you decompress?
Oh, what a good question. If I set up time, I enjoy doing yoga. Other than that, I really just like to sit down and just watch TV for just a short time and just forget about everything. And that helps me a lot too.
I'm decompressing just looking at your two panda bears kissing in the background.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say something to everyone out there real quick. This is an entrepreneur. This is a person who felt rusty in her sign language, yet wanted to take the risk and thought it was important to put it out there. And what you just did for me personally, by bringing something new to the table like this, and the thoughts that it's got me racing through on what I should be doing to reach out to different groups. You've had an impact on me with this. What what you did, and whatever made you decide to do this, I love it. And keep that fuel burning and keep being this entrepreneurial badass, because that was really special to me. And I hope it was special to people out there watching as well, because that was it. It made me think, and it's going to make me change.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me and allowing me to, I guess, change things up a little and to add my signing and your patience with it. So thank you.
Oh, the patience was easy. I've been fascinated with your hand movements the entire time. So I've got a surprise question for you too. Will you take us out with something? Whatever you want to say to the crowd, to say goodbye or to give us advice or say deuces. Is that goodbye? And
okay. So really, I say, I hope everybody is just staying safe. I know that people are just saying that just all the time, but really, stay safe, have really enjoyable Christmas and, the new year we have, and just hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
what sign should I use at the end of all my shows from now on? If I just wanted to start simple and maybe I wanted to say see you or thank you or something like that.
See you later. So like these two on your eye, like see
Here?
See these two? Yep.
Yeah.
Point to your, like, have one touch your eye.
Yeah.
See you later.
Hi. Is that later?
An L goes down.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do, because I'm all backwards on the screen.
Yeah.
See you later. I'm going to do exactly what you just did, but I got to go learn it somewhere.
All right. Well,
okay?
Let's do L, and then the L goes down. That's later. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So see you.
Other finger touch. The middle finger touches.
See.
Yep. Later.
You.
Yep.
Later.
Yep.
I'll do my best.
You're a professional already.
I don't think so.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Thank you so very much, Brittnie. This was amazing.